You're watching Fantasy Studs and Suds, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
Good afternoon and welcome to episode 14 of Fantasy Studs and Suds, brought to you by Fantasy Now Plus and the Funz Talk Sports Network. I am the fantasy nobody Jeffrey Crisp, and with me is my co-host CJ Pudge LePage. Our segments today will include Fantasy Studs, Hall of Fame game standouts, Fantasy League stickers or monitors, Fantasy Priority Beyond the Three. We continue our series on players that are the fourth, fifth, or lesser fantasy options on NFL teams. Fantasy Suds, we present our Brews of the Week, and Fantasy Funz, another round of A or B. Happy first of the month to you, Pudge.
Wake up, wake up. That was a song from the 90s that I grew up loving, and it still rings true today. It's just a little bit of nostalgia, but I'm sore. I played pickleball 2 days ago, and it was at nighttime, and I played for, I think, a little bit too long.
I have never played pickleball. It's interesting. I was talking yesterday about pickle juice and pickle beer. There was a conversation over on Blue Sky with John Bosch where he was talking about the benefits of pickle juice. My wife drinks pickle juice all the time when she has either been working around the yard or around the house, or when she's trying to recover from a nasty hangover. She has also espoused the virtues of pickle juice. I can't do it. That's what I said yesterday, and I'm saying that again. That's different than pickleball, but I'm not going to do that either. For me, I'm coming to you from apparently the dark side of the moon. I'm having a lighting issue that I wasn't anticipating. So if I get a little shadowy on today's episode, well, that's just a benefit for all of you. And with that said, why don't we just move on to Fantasy Studs? So last night, the NFL preseason kicked off with the Hall of Fame game at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. The 18,000 plus in attendance watched the Los Angeles Chargers dominate our Detroit Lions 34-7. In this contest, very few, if any, starters saw any action in a game that is always more hype than substance. Pudge, given the Lions were involved, I am assuming you watched the game?
If that's what you call it, a game. But yeah, it was hard to watch, but yeah, I watched it. There's a couple things in there that were all right, but
yeah, I started to watch it on my phone and then decided, as soon as I saw none of the starters were going, I decided, hey, I can watch this on all 22, or I can watch this on Game Pass or something later. So I just kind of shut that off. I don't even know if I really got to watching any of the game other than a few highlights that I saw online on NFL Plus, as well as on some sports media. But, you do have to count on your reserves to be ready at any time. And, the whole next man up mantra. The Lions had 5 turnovers, and those were very disappointing for Lions fans. I know this because, like I said, I'm a Lions fan. But more disheartening was Dan Skipper's injury, described as a low ankle sprain per MLive.com. The Lions offensive lineman left Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in a walking boot. Now, Skipper plays a critical role for Detroit's offensive line and has been involved in Lions' well-known gadget plays. In fact, he was included in the infamous controversial eligible receiver call late in 2023 versus the Cowboys, I believe. And so he's the one who they said called in or claimed eligible receiver at the same time that Taylor Decker did, and the rest is history. The Lions also had an unspecified injury to reserve tight end Kenny Yeboah. There were no injuries that I know of on the Chargers side of the field. So were there any performances from the game that stood out for you?
So early on in the game, I saw Omarion Hampton. I was anxious to see if they were going to play him. They did. His first run for first down, and it looked good. It was good. He hit the hole where he's supposed to hit. He was patient, and took out a guy, ran a guy over, and got the first down. And then they were up on the goal line. They were 3rd and 3, and he hit the outside, and he realized his speed is not the same as it is in the NFL as it is in college. He tried to outrun everybody, and then Rock Ya-Sin, who is 30 pounds less than him, ended up taking him down. It looked like he might not be ready for the NFL like everybody thinks he is. If a player that's 30 pounds less than you is able to open field tackle you, you probably should have cut inside and got what you could have got. He could have got the first down, but he tried to bounce it out, tried to get the touchdown, and itty bitty baby boy took him out.
Well, I'd like to claim excellent technique on the defensive side of the ball. However, looking at the score, I'm not exactly sure that there was a lot of defense going on for the Lions. For me, Trey Lance looked sharp in the powder blues and made a statement in his competition with Taylor Heineke for the number 2 position behind Justin Herbert. I have never been and never will be a Jim Harbaugh fan, but there is no denying that his impact on professional teams and players and Lance may very well benefit from Harbaugh and his crew's tutelage. Another one for me was Kamani Badal. He was also solid. And versus Hampton, what you just said, perhaps he's reminding Harbaugh to not forget about him as a sophomore rusher. Do you think, just real quickly, do you think that there's a chance? I mean, obviously, one game, especially the Hall of Fame game, doesn't mean anything. It's preseason. Do you think there's a chance that we're going to see a split between Vidal and Hampton?
Maybe just for the preseason, it'll be split with Harris and Hampton, I believe. Vidal is more of a special teams guy. I think that he does bring something to the table that Najee doesn't. He's got that dynamic change of pace. But after what I saw last night, I think Najee will be a big thorn in a lot of dynasty folks' sides. And if you took Omarion Hampton early, you're probably not going to get much out of him until the end of the year.
Well, again, from a dynasty perspective, taking Hampton early, obviously in a rookie draft is zero issue. If you're taking him early in a redraft league, or even a dynasty startup, if you're taking him early, that's fine. But if you're taking him that early in a redraft league, I think you're going to be regretting that decision most definitely. And in that game, Jack Fox, the NFL's current all-time leader for yards per punt, did Jack Fox-like things. So while the position battles are exciting to watch and there are fantasy implications with those battles, from a real-life perspective, I'm never going to rely upon preseason games. They don't tell us a lot about what these players are going to do. As far as position battles, sometimes you can glean some information. These are definitely more useful for the coaching staffs than they are for fantasy enthusiasts. And we also know that what happened in the 2008 after the Detroit Lions went 4-0 in the preseason. So, hey, everybody was excited after that undefeated preseason. And yeah, we kind of went undefeated or winless the rest of the way. So, that was something that I will never forget. Yeah,
for these games, I'm looking more at technique. Like I said, Omarion should have took what he had, and that these are going to be learning curves that a guy like Harbaugh is probably not going to deal with too much early on in the season. So. But I did see a couple of other good things, technique-wise, both good and bad, through the Lions' Isaac Tesla. I think that's how you say it, is Tesla. You stress that A there. But he had a very good catch and run. He had some yak there, showing off his athletic ability. But the play broke down, and he found the soft spot in the zone and zone coverage. And as we know, most of the NFL plays zone coverage. It was nice to see that he could recognize what was going on, found the soft spot, has really, really good hands. He caught the ball. He attacked it. It was a very great foretelling as his catching ability. I didn't really see too much in college. I don't think nobody did really, because his college production, but it's good to see that he was out there and he caught the ball in stride. Good things to see technique wise. And then a few plays later, it looked like he ran the wrong route. There was a comeback route out of the backfield from one of the running backs. And since Allen threw it to the running back, I'm going to assume that Tesla ran the wrong route. They were both within a yard of each other on the comeback. And then a little bit later on, we stressed the run over here in Detroit. He didn't know who he was supposed to block, so he lollygagged it until somebody got in his way. Bad on him. They're going to talk to him about who you're supposed to be blocking on that play. The next play, which was it was a stretch play. He attacked the linebacker right away, got in his face, and he looked awesome blocking. So if he knows who he's going to block, watch out. If he doesn't, he's going to be out there trying to figure it out on the fly. So it was a mixed bag for him. Obviously, he's a rookie. He doesn't have much experience collegiate-wise. He doesn't have any experience in the NFL. But it was very, very nice to see him get those 2 catches for 42, 45 yards or so like that.
Well, I think if anything is going to help him, it's going to be surrounded by other weapons. It's going to get him open. It's going to allow him to make mistakes, yet still learn from them and still be able to perform. So I think, unlike being on a team where he is expected to come in and be the wide receiver 2, the fact that he kind of is in the, is wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 for the team, that's really going to help him be able to flourish. And he's going to be able to learn from guys like Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams during the course of the season. So I'm really excited to see what he does. Hey, Jamie, you had me a little bit worried. I didn't see you right away. So what's up? And glad you have joined us again. Welcome. So the Hall of Fame game and preseason in general offer us first glimpses of teams drafted rookies in action. As we dive deep into fantasy draft season, especially for redraft, what are the preferred methods for recording live drafts? For many years, the use of online platforms and their emulation of sticker boards has been used by most leagues during live drafts. Some leagues will display the draft board on a large monitor or television, while others have GMs rely upon their individual devices. Over time, the physical draft board with the color-coded player stickers have fallen back into favor. I have a few leagues that are using sticker boards in lieu of the electronic versions. Scott Fishbowl, of course, the Scott Fishbowl Lives, of course, use a combination of both with the sticker board as the draft of a record. There are even organizations that now provide customizable draft boards, of course, at a cost. Especially when leagues have to pony up for the boards, why are the physical sticker boards so well liked? Pudge, why do you believe many leagues prefer the sticker boards?
It brings a certain, I don't know, it's nice for the camaraderie. I like them because you can kind of see like who the next guy is going to be picked. Is he going to take your guy? It's a fun way for everybody to engage into it, and you have to be there. That's kind of the purpose, right? You have to be present to put your sticker on the board. And that makes it better for the league. It makes it better for everybody else. With the way that things are these days, we've had some live drafts where a couple of the guys weren't able to make it, and it gets a little confusing sometimes. I have actually drafted proxy for somebody once, and I won't do it again because my personal draft suffered because of it. It wasn't very cool to kind of, go back and forth. Like, he would ask me for advice on picks and things of that nature. I say, these are the guys available. You pick them or you don't pick them. But it's nice though, because when that guy's searching for that name, and most of them are color coordinated, and he picks the same color scheme as the wide receiver, but you have a wide receiver on your board that you want next. You're really itching to see who he puts up there. And then after that, if he hasn't put it up there, you're like, yes. Or when they do just the opposite, when somebody drafts a quarterback in the first round of a 1 QB league, and you just see him grab for that quarterback color scheme, and everybody gets a chance to rouse them until they either get proved right or wrong. So it's fun. I like the anticipation. I like that you can always keep the board if you win it. If you win the league, that's something you can bring every single year. That could be your trophy.
Yeah, I like the idea of the drama that's built into the stickers. Like you said, somebody has to walk up to the board. They have to locate the stickers. You're watching what they're doing, in addition to trying to, review your queue, the players that you're thinking about drafting, and you're looking one eye at your documentation, you're looking another eye at the board. And I really like that kind of drama. Now, a board can also be used if somebody is remote drafting. We've seen it. I have one league that is out west where I haven't been able to attend the last couple of years, and others haven't been able to attend. The league used to be local, and now it's spread all over the country. And so we have people who will draft, and typically they'll tell the commissioner what their selection is, and then the commissioner will have either themselves or have someone else affix the sticker to the board. So there's still a little bit of drama, but it's not the same. And I think if we had a sticker board in our one draft, then we'd have to force Tyler to show up to the draft when he's not there, rather than
when it's his
online.
birthday.
But yes, we will leave him alone. Other than say, Tyler, you're going to be at the draft this year. We're happy to hear that. Make it a thing. Just like we said the other day, or last week, or the week before, the draft date every single year. Be there. Pudge, as a GM in a league, are you willing to pay an additional few dollars for that experience?
Yeah, I am. I'm willing to take away from the funds, that go out at the end of the year. Or if the guys want to, keep the funds the same and everybody pitches in. If everybody pitches in, it's not that expensive. It is. These are fun ways for us to keep track of leagues, for us to have funds, for us to just go all in on an experience, because it might not be the same experience next year. That guy might not be there. And, it's a great, inexpensive way for us to brag, to boast, to intensify our draft experience, stuff like that. Like, why have an experience when you can make it a great experience?
I mean, me, I'm willing to pitch in anything that's going to make the league, more fun, is going to involve engagement, anything that's going to just make the league enjoyable. We've talked ad nauseum about how I put more into get out of it. That's just, and I'm okay with that. That's just me. I do know there are some GMs who are not necessarily happy to extract money from the pool on a regular basis. Obviously, we have side trophy. We, in all 5 of my leagues, there's a trophy fee that goes into not only the cost of the plaque that goes on the trophy every year, but also the shipping. We have a few leagues. Well, other than one league, not even that league, all 5 of my leagues have people spread across the country. So there's shipping costs related to that. And so we have a lot of different fees that we kind of put into our league. And fortunately, people have been very good about it. There's been a couple complaints, but trying to get another fee for a board, I don't see that happening in any of the dynasty leagues with our rookie drafts, but our one home league, the redraft keeper league, that is something I think we could really do.
Yeah. I just want to add one more thing. Everybody now has a man cave or a she shed. or some place where they could display it, and it's cool. It's not something you put up in the living room, but it's something that you can talk about. It's a conversation piece. So yeah, that's it.
Agreed. So draft boards, whether electronic or physical, play an important role with our draft selections. Drafting contributing players beyond the studs is also very important. So when perusing NFL rosters for running back, wide receiver, and tight end, spotting 3 players with significant fantasy relevance is rarely difficult. With many rosters, however, identifying contributors past those 3 players may take a little more work. Today, we continue beyond the 3, a multi-part series where we will isolate 1 or 2 players on each team's roster we believe can contribute to your fantasy team's success. These are players that may already be a mid-round target for fantasy GMs, or they may be late-round sleepers. They may even be undrafted free agents sitting on the wire. This week, we are going to feature Atlanta, New York Giants, Jacksonville, New York Jets, Detroit, Green Bay, Carolina, and time permitting, New England. Please note that all rankings provided are courtesy of Fantasy Pros and based on Dynasty half-point PPR, 0.1 points per yard, 6 points per TD, with all experts selected. Pudge, why don't you get us started with Atlanta?
Everybody knows that Penix, Bijan, and Pitts, all these guys. This is way beyond the 3. This is the fifth guy, and that's Darnell Mooney. I feel like he's forgotten. I don't know why he's going this late. He had a comeback season last year. This was the best season he's had since his sophomore year in Chicago, which nobody really has good years in Chicago, so it is what it is. But he produced even under that kind of stress. He'll be more comfortable in the Atlanta offense year 2. He had a 19% target share last year. That's massive, especially when you've got guys out there like Drake and Pitts and Bijan. A lot of people don't exactly see him as that guy, but he proved he was. It was crazy. He was a very good fantasy option last year. And the players that are taken in his range are people like Jake Ferguson and Dalton Kincaid, CJ Stroud, and like Tank Bigsby and Rachaad White, which would be the only 2 guys that I would consider over him if I needed a running back, if I didn't go wide receiver heavy at that point. So I really think that he is a key role in that offense, and that offense is going to spread the ball around. What would be one of the guys that you would take, or would you take any of them over Mooney there? Would you take Ferguson, Kincaid, Stroud, Rachaad White, or Tank Bigsby over him?
Well, let's scratch Ferguson, Kincaid, and Bigsby. CJ Stroud, it would really depend. Are we talking about a super flex where, and I only have 1 quarterback? There's a few different circumstances there. We're just talking about a 1 QB league, and I already have a QB. I'm probably going to go White. Again, I'm a lot higher on White. I have a lot stronger feelings about White than a lot of other people do. We know that I've had some players that I've been really, really passionate about who have worked out very well. We also know that I've been passionate about players who have been total failures, but
stinkers.
We all
do.
But I think White. I still think White. We talked about this before. I still think there's going to be a 60-40 share there in Buckville, and so I think I'll take White over it. If I was going to choose someone else other than Darnell Mooney, I would take Rachaad White. So for
mine would be Tank Bigsby.
Go ahead.
It would be Tank Bigsby. Yeah.
Okay.
But I digress.
Well, for me in Atlanta, it's Tyler Algier. Currently, Tyler Algier is RB 53, and he's going overall at 179. If you consider who is starting in front of Algier, I mean, I don't need to mention his name. Last year, he had 644 yards on 137 carries. So the fact that he was getting work, even with Bijan there, is astonishing. He is not likely to bust off a long run, but his 4.7 yards per carry is all you can ask from an NFL team's RB2. He isn't big in the receiving game, but an RB5 going at the end of round 15, early round 16 is definitely worth a stash, especially if you have Bijan and you desire to back him up. What do you think about Algier?
Algier he's one of the like 4 or 5 guys that I think you can handcuff and still get points. There'd be Roshan Johnson, Tyler Algier, David Montgomery. It's going to be the guy in Jalen Warren. Sorry. And Jalen Wright as well, as we talked about the Jalens. We're just going to call them the Jalens. But those guys are the guy after the man, you know, and they have standalone value as well. Jamie said Tajay Spears. I'm going to put the brakes on you there. I know there's a big hype train behind Spears, but no, that offense is terrible. That offensive line is terrible. I don't see much going on with a rookie quarterback just for this year. Spears could be a league winner, but I wouldn't put my chips in on him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have several shares of Spears. He's still sitting there on several of my benches. I was hoping for a little bit more from him. I don't see him in the same category as Algier or the other individuals you rattled off, or even the aforementioned Rachaad White. I think those are individuals who I would rather have over Tajay Spears at this moment. But
Spears
again,
reminds me of Jerome Ford. Like, right? Everybody waited for Jerome Ford to just light it up. Nick Chubb's gone, and he just right.
I don't think he was as bad as, but I get what you're trying to state there. It wasn't, everybody thought it was going to be his coming out, and he was going to definitely represent himself as a solid RB1, and that just didn't quite transpire. So I agree. Mm-hmm. Who do you got for the Giants?
For the Giants, this is another guy. I can't understand it. He had 140 targets last year. This guy had 140 targets last year, and he's wide receiver 68 on a offense that we're projecting to be a little bit better. That's Wan'Dale Robinson. So he's going 168 overall, and he's going wide receiver 68. Like, it's crazy. He struggled to get and stay on the field his rookie year. I understand. Brian Dable's system, as we've talked about with Buffalo. Brian Dable is a Buffalo disciple. He came from there. He came from that scheme. And it's not an easy offense to grasp. So those rookies, a la, Malik Neighbors had a great year, but those rookies have a hard time with like McDermott's system. It's not the easiest thing for those guys, especially with those guys not with very much experience to grasp. So he took the baton and he ran with it last year. He was the guy that got open. He created separation. And he's going to do the same thing for a guy Russell Wilson, who likes to check the ball down. I don't think Malik Neighbors is going to have as great of numbers this year with Russ out there, but Wan'Dale should have a very, very good base. They haven't added any competition. They're very comfortable with going into the season with Theo Johnson, Malik Neighbors, and Wan'Dale as their 1, 2, and 3.
Well, I think a lot of people are so high on Neighbors, given what he did last year. I think everyone expects him to do the same, and that he's going to be the predominant focus for the Giants. I think Russ Wilson brings a whole different dynamic. And so I think you are going to see other players who are going to benefit from that. And Wan'Dale Robinson could definitely be one of them. Another one that possibly could benefit is my person, Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson is tight end 33, overall 196. Now, last year, Johnson played in 12 games and only had 29 receptions for 331 yards. While his ADOT was a modest 6.7 yards, more than 50% of Johnson's receptions were for first downs. He was fourth on a team dominated by neighbors and showcasing lousy QB play. Now, one would believe that 2025 will be an improvement with Wilson or even Winston, as we were talking about. I would expect the 6'6", 264-pound Johnson will be targeted more than 43 times this season. Again, with Wilson, just as we said, he's going to spread the ball around a lot more than what we saw last year with the carousel of QBs. Now, while I would almost certainly recommend Ben Sinnott over Johnson if he were still available that late, if he is not and you have waited on your tight end 2 or tight end 3, investing in Johnson low in round 19 may pay you very big dividends.
So we've got a couple of questions here. Hi, Anthony. Welcome.
Hey, Anthony.
Anthony has a couple of questions. We will tackle these. Jeff will incorporate them in here later, and he knows the best because Jeff's the best. And then Jamie, last round for a best ball league. Slayton's not a bad target. For some reason, he is downplayed, but he always seems to come back and produce when it's a mash unit and everybody's on IR or they're injured for the week. He becomes the guy that steps up, very much like he's a great best ball guy, shot in the dark. I'm not drafting him in redraft, but like you said, that's a good target for best ball leagues. My last round, I usually go running back because they get hurt all the time, but that's just my philosophy. So
why don't we go ahead and tackle Anthony's first question here? He's talking about running backs. So why don't you go ahead and I'll let you touch on that, Pudge.
All right. So it says, Jeff and CJ, are there any rookie receivers? Oh, rookie running backs. I'm sorry. He's got 2 questions here. Oopsie. Sorry about that, sir. The running backs that you feel are going to give great stats during their rookie year. I think it goes without question. Ashton Genty will be a running back 1 or 2 this year. These are all barring that they play 16, 17 games. I don't see many other guys between Cam Scatterboo. I really think is going to displace Jaylen Warren. They're going to run a 2-back system, so be careful there. But he will have significant games. And I will say that I really am starting to warm up to Travion Henderson. Travion Henderson is really going to be part of McDaniel's pass game. Very much like Wes Welker, I think. He's going to be like a Wes Welker-esque player this year. They're going to have Ramondre on the field, I would say, for 60, 70% of the snaps. Everybody's going to be mad at that. But Travion Henderson is going to really, really have a great coming out party at the end of the year, I believe. And then my third one is going to be Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson he's a dog, right? He was a producer at the collegiate level. He didn't test as well as we all thought he was going to. A little bit slower than we thought, a little bit slower than looks on camera. But Caleb Johnson is that guy, and he is a stealer. He's the hard nose. He's very much like Scatterboo. He's the hard nosed guy, and he can catch. He can catch the ball. Now they're in a Arthur Smith offense, so who do you trust, Arthur Smith or everybody else? I'm going to go against that. I would rate Scatterboo over Caleb Johnson. I know that's contrarian. And I know Jamie is a big fan of RJ Harvey. I'm fading RJ Harvey hard. If you take him in front of me, God bless you. I don't want any part of RJ Harvey, especially in Dynasty. He's 24 years old. We've got guys that we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes that they'll have their 4th season by the time they're 24. So I am not an RJ Harvey fan. I think that Evan Ingram is going to take most of those crazy Joker roles. And there's a reason they brought in J.K. Dobbins. If J.K. Dobbins goes down, of course, RJ Harvey will be a guy that you should look to. But I don't see that he's a league winner. Where he's going at in drafts, I'm not willing to take him there.
I certainly agree with Gente, and I also agree with Travion Henderson. The one thing with Ramondre Stevenson, now they're going to be platooning those two. The thing with Stevenson is he's well known to come out strong for the first half, 2/3 of the season, and then he falls off a cliff. And I think being able to have someone who's going to take some of those snaps away from him and allow him to stretch those across the season, it's going to be very beneficial for New England. So I'm really looking forward to Travion Henderson being a contributor. Whether or not he ends up taking the RB1 role is to be seen. But right now, if you're looking for, two players who are going to be beneficial, I don't think either one of them. I know a lot of people are taking Travion Henderson early. I wouldn't be taking him or looking at Henderson as your RB1, maybe even low RB2. But I think both of them, if you're looking for someone to take who's going to be a flex play, you can't go wrong with either one of them. And I would definitely take Travion Henderson. The other person that I would have said, had it not been for the off-field issues, would have been Junkins, Quinton Junkins. He would have come out strong, and I think he would have definitely made a case for being the number 2 rookie running back. But the off-field issues are going to derail him, and I don't think you're going to really see anything out of him. You may get something late in the year out of him, but I don't. If you're in a dynasty, obviously you want to pick him up. There's no doubt about it. But if you're in a redraft league, I just can't see, unless you're picking up in the very end of the end of the draft. I don't see picking him up or drafting him. I just don't know that he's going to provide much for you this year.
No, I agree.
Let's move on to our. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Well, I'm glad you agree with me.
I agree. I'm very agreeable
today. That. You should just do that. Let's go on to the next team. New York Giants. No, we just did the New York Giants. Let's not talk about the New York Giants. Jacksonville.
So
that's you.
Jacksonville. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Tank Bigsby. We already talked about him a little bit. He's going as RB39, and Tank Bigsby should be a better offense this year. Let's just say Liam Cohen and Grant Udinski. He was the OC he's the passing coordinator over in Minnesota. Liam Cohen and Udinski are going to run a tandem back system. They're going to have a lot of backs rotating through right there. ETN will have his role. He'll be the number 1 guy, but Bigsby is going to be the big back. He's going to be the goal line back. With the Lawrence concussions last year, I really think they're going to scale back his rushing. His tush push type of runs and stuff like that. I think they're going to be very careful and calculated with that. That leaves a lot of room for Tank to just take over. And like I said, he's not going to take over the backfield. I believe in Travis Etienne. I believe Travis Etienne is a huge buy right now for Dynasty, and a darling. He's going to be a league winning type of back that you're going to get late in the 5th or 6th round. But this offense, if you look at what Tampa did, Tampa ran 2 backs and nobody liked it, but they kept going with it. That's why Rashad White was so valuable last year. They didn't go away from him. But Liam Cohen is going to run the show. Grant Udinski has the same philosophy. Tank Bigsby is going to be a player that we really, really should be drafting, especially where he's at. He's running back 39, so he's going after all the ones.
So you have another one for Jacksonville?
Yeah, Brenton Strange. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to be adding anything there. That's on me. Brenton Strange. They brought in Travis Hunter. They already have BTJ, and there's nobody else. Brenton Strange he's uber athletic. Last year, he caught over 75% of his targets that were thrown his way. That's crazy for a tight end in his rookie season. I'm sorry, that was his sophomore season. It was so good that he had 400 yards, and that's a lot for a tight end, especially a backup tight end. Now, they like him so much that they said, bye-bye, Evan Ingram. You can go somewhere else, and we have our guy. So what a lot of these guys do, a lot of these GMs and front offices do behind the scenes, they really, really tell you what they like about their players. So I think that Liam Cohen should get a very serviceable tight end out of Brenton Strange. You're going to get him so late in drafts that you can go 0 tight end. Let everybody take all the big ones while you scoop up all the wide receivers and running backs, and you look like a genius at the end of the year.
I like Brenton Strange, and I think that I can't remember what his ADOT was. I thought it was pretty significant because typically what the average ADOT for a tight end is around 7.4, 7.5. And I thought it was
10.1.
10.1 ADOT.
Yes. Oh, that was his.
See,
I'm sorry, that was his yards. That was his yards per reception. Sorry.
Yeah, they're trying to target him farther down the field, and I think that's where a lot of tight ends really hit pay dirt, is when they can get those receptions and they can actually get the yak. And so I think that's one of the things where Strange, I think, is eventually going to, like you said, you have weapons there, but I think that he is going to, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year. I think it's going to be more significant. Do I want him as my tight end 1? No, but you're not, I mean, overall 187, you can get him on the cheap. And if he does take off, then you look gold. So definitely you want to be targeting him later if you need a tight end 2 or 3 later in the draft.
I got one more thing to say about Brenton.
Yep.
Coaches are smart, right? Smart offensive coaches do personnel plays. If you look at how Tua was treated last year after his concussions, if you look at some of the other quarterbacks that have trouble staying on the field, they go to their tight ends. They rely on their tight ends. If you look at John O. Smith last year, look at some of the other quarterbacks that have trouble staying on the field. If you look at their tight end share, it's going to be way up there. Patrick Mahomes doesn't like to get hit. He likes to give the ball up. That's why Travis Kelce he was so good for so long. And then when those plays break down, he runs with his legs. But if you look at how Trevor Lawrence is going to be treated this year, they're going to get the ball out of his hands fast, and it's going to be to either one of those 3 guys. And I think Brenton Strange has a big chance to do big things over there.
Agreed. New York Jets.
we've talked about Braylon Allen in exhaustion. I'm going to keep banging the table for this guy as running back 45 and 162 overall. Allen's size and speed just alone make him hard to ignore. He's a big bag. He's over 220 pounds. Last year, he was the youngest player in the NFL. He was under 20 years old. He was 20 years old. And it looked like he wasn't exactly ready for the NFL. Maybe his maturity didn't hit. But I think that this coaching staff is going to get a lot out of him. They will be using a dual running back set. They'll have RPOs with Fields, and that will leave the box open. You're not going to be able to stack it. You're not going to be able to key on one or two players. And they're going to put Braylon Allen out there with Breece Hall. You'll see it a lot. You see it a lot in Sean Payton. You see a lot with the Lions. You see a lot with a lot of those dual backs down there in New Orleans. You'll see that a lot this year from the Jets. Those guys are going to make it a priority not to use up Breece Hall so much. And then he does have the option to get a little pass work. I wouldn't expect that, but he'll get a majority of the goal line work for sure.
It's just really hard with the Jets. I mean, when I think Jets, I think defense, stout defenses, and it's hard to have an offensive player. Maybe year to year, you're getting something out of that player, but to have consistent performance year after year, someone you can trust on Dynasty, it's so hard, and it's just really. When it comes, I just see New York Jets, NYJ behind the player's name, and it's probably not right, but I tend to pass on that player. I don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And I know you've been talking Braylon Allen. I will, let everybody know that this is you've been talking him all off season, so I know that you are definitely high on Allen, and I hope he works out. And again, at 162 overall. You just can't miss on some of these players when it's that late, and I think he's worth the stash. I'm until a Jets player can prove me wrong. I'm just fading Jets players altogether.
They used to be like the Lions. The only person you draft is Calvin Johnson, and then you leave the rest of the team alone forever. It's just like the Browns. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Detroit. Actually, I'm going to go first. If you don't, Jamie, I'm with you on Braylon Allen. I just don't think you can go wrong with him.
He's just one of those guys. He's one of my guys. Yeah. He's my guy.
Actually, I lied. You go first with Detroit.
You want me to take Jameson first? All right.
Your name is Jameson, so you do it.
So Jameson Williams, he's wide receiver 28, and he's 55th overall. Now, that is a high-powered offense, and it should continue. His maturity has really shown over this offseason. It's been a very, let's say, very different offseason for Williams. He hasn't had the trouble. He's already 2 years removed from the ACL surgery that crippled his rookie year. And from everything I'm hearing at camp is he looks like a new player. He's taking everything serious. He's taking his body seriously in the off season. He's doing all the right things instead of all the wrong things this year. So he could be a guy that really sneaks up there and has those really big boom bust weeks. Maybe like a Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill. Don't quote me there. But he could have Tyreek Hill type weeks on that offense.
JMO has flashes. I know that everybody's talked, out of preseason about, a lot of the players have talked about how JMO is taking another leap forward and that we should expect big things this year. Another player where I'm just hesitant to pull the trigger on him and add him to my roster that early. I mean, 55. I mean, you're talking what? That's round 5-ish, and I think there's a lot of other options that are there. I hope, as a Lions fan, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope that he explodes and he provides not only the real life NFL Lions with the support that we all have been hoping for, but from a fantasy perspective, that he's finally paying dividends. I just can't bring myself to take him at that. I mean, if he slides a little bit more, I'll be willing to jump on him. But at 55, I just think there's other players there that I would rather have.
That's
my player for the line. What's that?
That's our difference in philosophy. I'm very swing for the fences. After the first 3 rounds, I am ceiling. That doesn't always work out, and you can end up in last place, but you can also end up in the first place.
I've seen you play poker, so I know what happens to you when you're swinging for the fences. It's a little bit different in fantasy, but I've seen you play poker. That strategy doesn't work out for you so well. My player for the Lions is David Montgomery. He's overall 74, running back 18. Now, how solid is an NFL team for fantasy purposes when David Montgomery is the 5th best option on the team? Now, there are still discussions about his injury in 2024, but he still appeared in 14 games. That was the same number of games in which he appeared the season before. So it wasn't like he was injured more last year than the previous year. Down were most rushing stats for him, and his yards before contact was the worst of his career, although the average yards before contact has been consistent. What was notable for Montgomery was he was utilized considerably more in the passing game, with his second highest yardage tally of his career and his best yards per reception as a pro. Now, on average, most catches in the backfield, Monty averaged 10.1 yards after catch. His carries, yardage, first downs, yards per attempt, again, those were all down. But his utilization out of the backfield in the passing game is really exciting for me. Now, with all the preseason talks surrounding new look schemes that may feature both Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield at the same time, and questions about the time Goff will have given the retirement of All-Pro center Frank Ragnow, I would not be shocked to see both backs heavily utilized and Montgomery creep into RB1 territory.
If he stays healthy.
Again, hasn't missed as much time. Everybody's been talking about that injury, last year, but it wasn't as significant. Now, maybe, what's that?
He missed 4 games the year before, too.
3 games. There's only 17 games in a season, not 18. There may be 18 one day. It's 14 games both seasons. So 17 minus 14 equals 3. Just wanted to help you out there.
No.
So we're going to be talking about Green Bay in a second, but before we do that, I think this is a golden opportunity, pun intended, to address Anthony's other question regarding rookie receivers.
Yeah. He was talking about rookie receivers that you think could be drafted high because fantasy people are projecting their high production. A guy right now that's really hot is Egbuka. He's lighting the world on fire. I've seen some camp highlights of Trey Harris with some very, very nifty moves and great hands. I like those two. Tet McMillan right now for me is wide receiver 1 for this draft. Behind him, I'm going to move Travis Hunter because he's taking more snaps with the defense right now than he is on the offense, and move him to the back of the bus. And I'm going to move up Egbuka to my second wide receiver. He's going high in drafts, but I think he's very much worth the the capital that you're going to put into him. He's a all-around player. He played all over the field at Ohio State. He was on the field and had all of the accolades that you would expect out of a number one guy, but he's sharing the backfield with superstars, sharing the wide receiver room with a bunch of superstars in that room, and he's still the number one guy. So when he went to Tampa and they said that Godwin was going to end up on the PUP list, I moved him up. Now I really think he's going to catch fire. And then after that, it's going to be Golden. I take Matthew Golden over Jalen, and trying to think the other wide receiver for the Houston Texans, because I'm fading, guys. If you know this with me, I'm fading all of the Houston Texans. They're almost undraftable to me. Everybody's draftable at their, at a certain cost, but those guys are no. I'm taking the tight ends right now over a lot of these wide receivers. I'm taking Fannin. Last of the tight ends, I'll go in my order. I'll take Loveland. Then it'll be Tyler Warren. Then you've got Mason Taylor and Arroyo. And then after Arroyo, I'm taking Fannin. I know it's not going to be this year, but it'll be very soon. He's a very athletic guy. But all those other wide receivers, I'm fading big time. I know Deontay Thornton has been a guy that has made it into the lineup, but Jack Besh is going to be that guy. Not this year, but Jack Besh is going to make a statement. There's a reason he drafted him that high. Deontay Thornton is more or less a decoy in that system. Brock Bowers is the number one. Jacoby Myers is going to be the number two, and they're not going to throw the ball enough to have a number three.
So we're going to quickly rattle off Green Bay, and then we're going to have to skip Carolina and New England. So you were just talking about Matthew Golden. He was your player for Green Bay. You want to any additional comments you want to make on him real quick?
Yeah, I would like for you to okay.
If you're looking at our show sheet, I totally bleeped up our show sheet. I had no idea how that happened. So hopefully you have some of your notes.
Have all of those notes.
That's a good thing.
I do
not know what I did with your comments.
It's okay. But hey, there we are.
So while you're looking for that, let me go ahead with Romeo Doubs. Or you got it? You ready?
Well, no. First of all, I'd like to wish Matthew Golden a happy 22nd birthday, because today is his birthday. And he's going wide receiver 60. This is the first time that the Green Bay Packers have drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. That was Javon Walker. If any of you can remember, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm not sure, but Golden has blazing speed, and it complements Jaden Reed, who they're going to move all over the offense. They're going to put him in motion, all those types of things. Golden, in his ability to track the ball, it's already been talked about. Jordan Love has talked up his ability to attack at the catch point. He's not letting the ball come to him. He's going to the ball. That is what quarterbacks love to see. I don't care if you are Sam Darnold or you're Trey Lance. They're going to want to see you go to the ball, not let the ball come to you, because that's just more time in the air for it to get picked. But he will be used quite frequently. I don't know why he's going as wide receiver 60, but we'll see. We'll see. His contested catches have been great throughout practice, what's been available to the media. So I expect big things out of Matthew Golden, actually.
See, for me, it's Romeo Doubs, although I'm not extremely hyped about Dobbs. He's overall 144, wide receiver 62. There was hype before the 2023 season. While Dobbs was targeted 96 times, his 61.5% catch rate and 6 drops were not impressive. Appearing in only 13 games, his stats were down, but his yards per game, yards per target, and his ADOT were career highs. It is difficult for me to feel good about much with the Green Bay receiving core, and the addition of Matthew Golden makes things murkier than a dank New England IPA. For me, there are other options in round 12 and round 13, but if you believe Dobbs will be elsewhere in 2026 and can flourish, then perhaps this is your pick. He just isn't my pick.
Do you think he's going to learn how to catch the ball? It's kind of important for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it's 61.5% catch rate, 6 drops, not good.
Out of Dontavian Wicks and the rest of the crew, yes, he's your guy. He'll take the most out of whatever Golden and Reed don't.
Yeah. I'll shoot for Golden. I'm not even sure if I'm high on Jaden Reed at this point. I just don't know what the Packers are going to do, who they're going to allow, who they're going to move, who they're going to allow to leave. Golden is about the only one I would really want to target out of any of them. So we're going to skip Carolina and New England. Unfortunately, a lot of great questions and a lot of conversations. So we're going to continue to move on. Many deep roster players can provide fantasy GMs fantasy viciousness. Many craft brewed beers can provide aficionados creamy, hoppy deliciousness. Let's suds up. We prefer our craft beer, but we also prefer to be responsible. If you are not drinking at home, please have a plan for safety. Responsibility is 100% your responsibility. If even 1 ounce you imbibe, not 1 yard should you drive. Pudge, what are you enjoying today?
Well, 1 second. I've got to grab it. Today, we have Lion Kugels, Summer Shandy, the OG. I had to break out the hat and glasses just because it tastes so good. You can't drink it without it.
There are definitely Lion Kugels. I used to love a beer called Creamy Dark. I think they changed the name on it. That was one I used to feel was okay. There was another one, don't remember the name, that I really liked. Don't see that one around much any longer. The Shandies I can personally do without, but for me, I'm drinking a beer. It's a collaboration from Fair State Brewing Cooperative in Minneapolis and Hopewell Brewing out of Chicago. This IPA is named Dripping Sun and is described on the can art as a tantalizing and fruity IPA to crush while you dream of longer, sunnier days. They continue that this is just an IPA. It's the IPA of the summer. Now, this 7.0% ABV cold IPA blends New Zealand Nelson Sauvin and PNW hops with a Bavarian lager yeast. And the clarity of it, and cheers.
Cheers. Well, you're taking that. I want to take. You were talking about Monty earlier. The Detroit Lions are going to be playing with the lead in some of these games, and they're going to be not so good this year in a lot of other games. The 15 wins that they had last year are not going to mirror what they did this year. They're going to be a lot tighter games. I think there's going to be a lot less Montgomery. So that's my take on him. I wanted to add that in. With them being so high, with them being so high in games last year and salting out games, I think there's going to be a little bit less of the pie for Montgomery.
It's possible, but we'll see. So while we drink, it is time to think A or B. So I'm going to present 2 options, and Pudge and I will decide for each of us which option we prefer. So here's the first, A or B. In a 12-team Superflex dynasty, 4 points per touchdown, 0.04 yardage for QB, full PPR, would you rather have A, Ashton Giante, Trevor Lawrence, and Cortland Sutton, or B, Brian Thomas, Geno Smith, Joe Mixon, and a 2026 first rounder.
Can you say that again? Sorry. No, I don't need the front. I just need the players.
Yeah. A, Giante, Lawrence, Sutton. B, Brian Thomas, Geno Smith, Joe Mixon, 2026 first rounder.
Well, I don't want anything to do with Joe Mixon. But, man, I can't stay away from BTJ. Love that. His game is good. And the fact that you took away the stack with Lawrence going to the other team, man, that makes it tough. I'm going to go with Genty because I really think that the Mixon is he's gonna jump off a cliff right now. He doesn't mean anything to me.
I'm going with A because Geno Smith and Joe Mixon in football years for their positions are older than me. And I will take the younger side. I think there's a lot of people who are down on Trevor Lawrence. Again, he was injured. I think he was doing fairly decent. And we'll see. I would just rather, and I like Sutton. I like Sutton. I think that Denver is going to do better than a lot of people. I've heard people even say that Denver's going to miss the playoffs. I don't believe it. I'll take A as well. Second A or B. A, live draft scheduled on a Sunday at 11 a.m. that only lasts 3 hours. Or B, a live draft that's scheduled on a Saturday at 8 p.m. that lasts 5 hours.
Oh, I'll take the Saturday at 8 p.m. 5 hours. That to me is a much better time. For the simple fact that I'm an old man and it'll give me something to do after Matlock. I don't know if any. I go to bed at like 9 or 10. Yeah, but this would give me a reason to stay up and have some fun.
Well, for me, it's definitely B. I can't understand why people get together for a live draft and then they want to leave. They want to rush to the draft and they want to take off. Why not just have a fast draft online if that's what you're really going to do? A live draft should be about camaraderie. It should be about the food, the drink, the trash talking, the everything that comes with a live draft. And I think it's one of the reasons why, like with Scott Fishbowl, one of the reasons why they don't want people to go past 10 rounds is because they want people to talk. They want people to interact. And I think that is the reason to have a live draft. And like you said, even with the sticker boards, I think that's another way to extend a draft. Right now, it's so easy for somebody to just push a button, and the next thing you know, 2.5 hours later, the draft is done. With a sticker board, you have to get up out of your seat. You have to go fix the sticker on the board and sit back down. And then people are giving you grief as you're walking back to your chair or to your seat. I will take B all day long. I don't want to get together and just have a draft end in 2.5, 3 hours.
I already spent my time in the Navy. I did my hurry up and wait. Like, hey, life is all about experiences, people. Take your time.
Agreed.
Take your time.
Enjoy your friends, and if they're not your friends, enjoy your league mates. Enjoy the experience. I mean, you only have so many live drafts in your life, and for my life, I have a lot less than what Pudge has. So, well, depends on our life choices, I guess. But we'll just anyway. Next third or next A or B. When you are tailgating, do you prefer A, flip cup, or also known as tippy cup, or B, beer pong?
Flippy cup. I see what I did there? I changed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not tippy. It's not
a
flippy.
Portmanteau. I like your portmanteau. Yes.
I love tippy cup. Tippy cup it's a lost art. And beer pong is made for those tall guys with really long arms, with good eye-hand coordination, like all these things that I just don't have. But tip cup now, I can drink some beers and tip some cups, but I'm not gonna use Tanqueray like some of our league mates.
It was actually Bombay Blue Sapphire. EZ. Do not play flip cup with gin. Bad idea. I'm going to go with A. One, why? Because I'm really good at flip cup or tippy cup. I call it tippy cup. I'm really good at tippy cup, and I really suck at beer pong. So it's A for me all day long. Our final, and easy, no gin.
No gin.
Our fourth A and B, no gin. It wouldn't even have occurred to me to use. In fact, you know how much I love craft beer. I won't even drink craft beer. I'm not going to waste my craft beer doing that. That's when I'm pulling out, your beer to drink that.
Busch Light Limes.
Playing the game. Anything that's not gin and not craft beer. And our final A or B, since we're way over this episode, A, French fries, or B, onion rings.
What type of French fry? Come on.
Your best type of French fry versus your best type of onion ring.
Oh, I will take steak fries all day long. We have a burger place that you and I love to go to after. Well, it used to be after Lions games, but they're all you can eat fries, and they have a great steak seasoning on them. I love those. I would take fries over onion rings 80% of the time, unless they're crappy fries.
The Crimson Bird fries are really, really good. I love going to that place. There's no doubt that those are excellent fries. So for me, this is so hard because a really well-seasoned fry, and what really upset me at the Scott Fish Bowl Michigan Live was at Hopcat. I didn't even order the Cosmic Fries, which I love. I love a good French fry. Those fries, yes. But an onion ring with excellent batter, I will take onion rings all day long. If they are prepared correctly, they have an excellent batter, and are deep fried properly, you cannot go wrong with an onion ring. I love French fries. I can eat, anyone who camera's not showing anything below here, but if you see this, I love my fried foods, and French fries are great, but I'll take a perfectly prepared and battered onion ring every single time. Jamie loves those curly fries. We kind of lost track on some of the comments, and we want to thank everybody.
There's a couple in here I touched on, but I didn't bring up.
Yeah, and Jamie, we appreciate all your comments. We're sorry we weren't able to get to them. As you can see, we're way long, and we thank you for sticking with us through all this time. But we Pudge and I can sometimes talk a lot, so we'll just move from there. Pudge, let everybody know where you can be found.
I am CJ Pudge LePage, and you can find me on X at FF_LePudge, and you can find me on Blue Sky at FFLePudge at FantasyNowPlus.com. How about you, sir?
And I can be found at FFCommish_YIS on X, FFCommish_YIS on Discord, and FFCommishYIS.FantasyNowPlus.com on Blue Sky. I don't think I messed that one up. It only took 14 episodes. I want to thank the audience for listening. Our next episode will be live from the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio on Friday, August 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific. Catch up on episodes of Fantasy Studs and Suds and your other favorite Fantasy Now Plus shows here on YouTube, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Follow the Funz Talk Sports Network here on YouTube. Follow Fantasy Now Plus on Discord, TikTok, Blue Sky, and subscribe to this channel here on YouTube. Until next time, live from the Fantasy Football Expo for Pudge LePage, I am the Fantasy Nobody, Jeffrey Crisp. Be good, be kind, be responsible, and cheers.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.